Hi, how are you, Kyle?
Hello, hello.
Thank you for joining us at such last minute notice. Maybe you could just tell the folks here very briefly about your podcast and what you do generally with Rev VR in your daytime job.
Sure, sure. My name is Rev Kyle. I'm host of the Rev VR podcast. I'm also part of the Road to VR team, and I talk about VR all the time. So we talk to developers. I evangelize VR to the masses, and just all around have a good time playing with all the fun new toys.
Wonderful. So you've just come back from E3, haven't you? Are there any conclusions that can be made from that? I spoke to Kevin Williams last night. He said there's a huge amount of head-mounted displays coming out, including one that's a serious contender for the Oculus Rift.
Yeah, so there were quite a bit of HMDs there. Obviously, Oculus was showing off the DK2 with a whole lot of new content. That was awesome. Sony's Project Morpheus was there, again, also showing some new content. And there were some other head-mounted displays there. There was Game Face there. Ed Mason was showing off Game Face, which their latest prototype is amazing. And let's see, there was also one there called Seymour, C-M-O-A-R, yeah, Seymour. They were showing off it uses either a phone like an Android or an iOS phone, and had multiple different lens capability. So it could do a two-screen or a 2D, which had like a Fresnel lens, which was adequate. It was okay. And then they had 3D for viewing like videos and whatnot, 3D movies. Then they had virtual reality, which was gaming. Their field of view on that was a little less than, I don't know, I would say it was somewhere between 60 and 80. It was kind of hard to tell. And then they had some augmented reality. So the demo they were showing off at Seymour was a 2-foot by 2-foot QR code, and when you look down on it, it actually had a very detailed village popped up on the screen, and then you could interact with it by looking at different characters. It was kind of like a medieval type of thing, so it was kind of neat. In terms of HMDs, I really truly think that there's going to be 3 or 4 major contenders, and then everybody else will just kind of fill in the blanks.
Okay, I mean, it's interesting that there are so many of these sort of attachment models, including Oculus themselves with their collaboration with Samsung. So again, Kevin said there's about 50 of these different devices, presumably with all their different SDKs, formats, distortions, and lenses, etc. What does that mean for a developer? Why would a developer even bother unless there's a huge mass market there?
It's a good question. I think there's a lot of future in Android and iOS development, more specifically in the Android world. Developers have the opportunity with Unity and hopefully eventually with Unreal Engine 4 to develop cross-platform experiences or games or demos, whatever. You're going to end up with people who go into Unity and make one VR experience, and then we can either use it on Game Face or Dorovis Dive or Altergaze or Oculus Rift or the Morpheus. So I encourage developers to not just focus on the PC games, but to actually expand and look at the capabilities for mobile devices as well. And Samsung is going to be a big player in this game. So what I have a feeling is going to happen is that Samsung will sell their phones with their new Quad HD screens, and then you will obtain whatever their hardware is, probably for free or with a rebate of some sort, and then have that VR experience as well. Now, they're focusing on media consumption, not necessarily on gameplay. But I have a feeling as time goes by, you're going to see a lot more mobile architecture running a lot of this VR space.
Okay, I don't know who in the room here, if anybody's developing any VR content right now. If anybody's got any questions for Kyle that could be used in development. Do you want to come a little bit closer to the microphone? Hi, Kyle.
Hello.
With Virtual View, we're focusing not just on gaming content, we're focusing on filmed VR content as well. So was there any sort of views at E3 about any
sort of movement in that area?
Not actually at E3, but I did have a chance to go to the Servio's headquarters, and while we were there, Scott from Jaunt was there showing off some stuff I shouldn't talk about. It was really cool, though. You know, the whole idea of 3D stereoscopic VR video viewing and the actual ability to record an event from, you know, World Cup from, you know, at the 50-yard line, that would be fantastic. I really think there's a future in that, and I hope that folks like you in Hollywood, you know, jump on that and make a lot of content for us to consume, especially with all of the abilities, all the ways that we're going to be able to consume them.
Right.
Can I ask you a question? In terms of content, are you seeing any particular trends now? I know there's a lot of companies, certainly in the UK, that are setting up their own virtual reality production arms from existing businesses. You know, there could be a post-production company that's set up, create an offshoot. There's lots of these companies setting up all the time. So, in terms of that, what is the market do you expect, or do you even have an opinion on about what actually the demand is in terms of content? You know, so gaming is still unknown in terms of going to VR. Do you think it's more of a cinematic approach, perhaps?
I think there's room for both, and I think that both are very important. So if you take an example like Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime, they're offering streaming video experiences, and it's really important that we embrace that as a development community and say, okay, there's going to be a VR version of Netflix. It might be called something else, but it'll be a streaming service. And millions of people, hopefully, eventually, will want to consume that content. So we have to have content. And so what would happen if Netflix had come out and only had, I don't know, 100 titles? That would have been devastating to their service. So we need to ramp up and really produce as much VR cinematic experiences as we can, so when these services do go live, your content is ready to be consumed. And that was a conversation I actually had with someone who is in the production world, and he said, hey, you know, when are we going to start seeing the content flow? And I told him, soon, very, very soon.
And any other hardware we should be looking out for that you saw at E3? It doesn't have to be a head-mounted display, it could be a peripheral device. Actually, right here we've got I think I said the name once, what Decatech is. It's Decatech Technologies. Just introduce yourself to Kyle. So, guy called Martin has been running maybe you can figure it out and show Kyle. It's a gun. It looks like a gun, but it's not actually deployed. It's a recoil mechanism for VR.
Yeah, so it started off as a military trainer. It used a linear motor to produce recoil, but it's fully programmable. It's fully programmable. It's got a resolution of about 1 millimeter and can move at speeds of about 7.4 meters a second. And you can actually change out the actual weight that moves, so you can get center of gravity effects. So like with different types of controllers. So anyway, so different kinds of controllers. Like we're looking to start to merge into a different area of marketing rather than military. And and we're looking to move into a different area of marketing rather than military. So we see a lot of fun ideas that could become of this. Like, for instance, if you could imagine like a cylinder that you're holding, it's got a recoil device in it, and it's actually a tennis racket in the virtual space. And when the ball hits the racket, the motor moves, displaces the center of weight, and it feels like the ball hit. So we see like a lot of really cool stuff being developed in this. But anyway.
I think the question though there was also what peripherals were out there at the conference.
Yeah,
any peripherals?
I've seen a few. I've seen a few guns. None of them that look that cool though. That's pretty cool. So that has recoil. That has you actually feel it.
Yeah, it's about 88 to sometimes 90, depending on the actual real weapon, the percentage of the recoil. So it's very close. Yeah.
Wow, I want one. So, what type of experiences or games have you tested this with? I mean, Half-Life or Team Fortress?
So we have a horrible demo in the back.
It's called
Okay.
Waterloo Zombie Hunt.
Yeah. But anyway, so basically our system pairs. It has a laser that shoots. We've attached a Wiimote to do tracking for the demo that we have here. But in the military world, they have entire rooms. They have theaters essentially. They project on the walls, and they have cameras that screen capture for IR, for infrared.
Mm-hmm.
And that's if you've got a target or not. And we just kind of souped this thing up so it would work with our demo.
So we patented it before Oculus Rift and Project Morpheus kind of went head to head, and everything started to explode. And then we were like, oh wow, wait, we have a patent on linear motors for haptic feedback, and that means a lot more now.
Yeah, it does. That's excellent. So what are you calling this?
This is Striker Virtual Recoil. It's one brand of the execution of the linear motor for haptic feedback.
Very cool. So is this going to be something we will see consumer ready or maybe Kickstarter anytime soon?
That's something still there. We came here from New Orleans, Louisiana, and we're just kind of,
we called Ignition, actually. We were just like, hey, I think it was an email to their website. And it was like, hey, you guys look like y'all are doing amazing things. I think we could, is there some way we can work together? I don't know. I was just reaching out to the industry, and Ignition responded. They invited us to come to London. I've never been to Europe, so it's kind of awesome.
This is the closest I've ever been to England either. So yeah, you're in Louisiana. That's funny. I'm in Ohio, so we should hook up, talk, play around. Very cool. Yes. Thanks for showing that to me. That's fantastic.
One last question to Kyle. I mean, if you are developing, is it a scary prospect right now? Who should you be developing for? Should you be getting in contact with Samsung and these kind of people, or should you just basically create some community, put it out on Oculus Show and see what response you get?
It's a tough world right now because there's so many people producing content, and some of it is fantastic and kind of slips under the radar. So if you are producing content for VR devices, specifically the Oculus Rift or even Sony's Morpheus, I encourage you to contact them. Contact Jeff and Anton at the Morpheus team. Sony's team they love indie developers. I just did an interview with them at E3, and they love to talk to indie developers. And again, same with Oculus. Aaron Davies is a good person to reach out to. These people are very easy to get a hold of. So if you're a developer and you're hoping to get some contact with these folks, do it. It's easy. Throw them a tweet or send them an email. I mean, if you want to email anybody from Oculus, it's whatever their first name dot last name at oculusvr.com. I mean, you could just start randomly typing in names and eventually get somebody. But yeah, I recommend doing it. Contact them. They want you to talk to them because if you have a compelling experience, they want to know about it.
Yeah, we're ready to demo. This is the first international demo we've done. We've got several others set up when we get back, but I mean, we're ready to kind of bring it around.
You should hook up at the next release. What's the last VR game you played? I've been playing Technolust recently. I've been pretty blown away by that.
Oh yeah, Technolust is fantastic. At E3, I actually got to play several new games. I got to do Super Hot, which is super hot, really good. I played Lucky's Tale, which I was blown away by. I was not sold on the idea of a third-person VR experience, but I am now. I absolutely am now. That Lucky's Tale is fantastic. I tried Alien Isolation. That control scheme needs some work to be effective in VR, but the visual experience was very compelling. I did the Street Luge at the Sony Morpheus. They showed me that. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. As much of a PC guy as I am, I have a feeling I'll end up buying a PS4 before the end of the year.
Interesting. Okay, well, thank you so much, Carl. Really, really interesting. And yeah, let's round of applause, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
how do we find out about your podcast?
Sure. The easiest way is to go to roadtovr.com. I post all of my podcasts on there. You can also find my podcast through Stitcher or iTunes. Just search for Rev VR Podcast. I'm there. And if you just want to email me and talk to me, I'm very transparent as well. So reverendkjr@gmail.com. We'll chat.
Right. Thank you, Carl. I'll see you soon.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you very much. Thank you.